this week we want to talk about why there is such a need to adopt the school-age child in that age range.
Right. Well, one of the statistics that I came across when I was just going through the DCS data just highlighted it for me, and that is for kids simply turning 7, just turning 7, makes them 7 times more likely to end up in a group home or residential care than in a foster home. And so we're always asked, well, why? Like, why is that happening? And part of it is that we don't have enough foster homes for the number of kids in foster care. So there's just a sheer number issue. Mm-hmm. But then every family gets to choose what age range they want to foster.
Oh, wow.
And so, of course, many families want the younger kids for all kinds of reasons. And so it is just that families really want the 0 to 6, and we have fewer families willing to take the older kids, so much so that, 7 times more likely just by turning 7 years old. And I actually remember that when my kids turned 7, they're 17 now, but when they turned 7, I had a little bit of a breakdown because I was in this field and I knew that. I knew oh, wow, if they went into care today, no one would want them, or fewer families would want them. What would happen? And I couldn't wrap my mind around it, because to me, they were my 6-year-old babies just a few days before, and now they're 7, and that's this magic number for that. So it gets just even worse after that. I think 11 to 14-year-olds are 11 times more likely than the 7 to 10-year-olds, and by the time we hit 15, about half of our kids will go straight into a group home. So it's just where do they end up when they do come into care? Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to know off the top of your head the number of kids in that age range in the foster care system?
I think, foster care system, I don't know, but I think for adoption, there's around 800 kids.
Wow. In Arizona right now?
In Arizona right now, yeah, that don't have an adoptive home whose case plan is adoption. Wow. So, yeah.
That's a lot of kids. And so, that's why we're doing this series. There is such a great need, and we just want and hope and pray that these kids can end up in a forever home. Mm-hmm. And so what are some of the reasons why we want them to get into a forever home? Because the statistics, unfortunately, get scarier as they go on and even age out of the foster care system.
Absolutely. So I want to clarify one thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I just talked about they go into group homes and when they're first coming in, and that's not when they're available for adoption. Okay. But the reason that it matters that they're going into the group home in the first place is, one, it's going to be harder to move them out of a group home. There's just too many kids coming in and not enough families to move them out of. But what happens then is when the case plan changes to adoption, normally, for our younger kids, the foster parents are going to say yes to adoption. Okay. But if they're in a group home, they don't have that foster family to say yes. And so their resources are fewer. So that it just becomes less and less likely that they'll be matched with an adoptive family the older they get. So we really want to make sure we've got those families that are in the queue, ready, waiting, and wanting to adopt these kids. You were asking, why? Why does, what happens? Mm-hmm. And again, we've been talking, for several months now about just what happens when kids age out, and the statistics are just awful for them. I think 72% of young women will be pregnant by 21 years old, which means we're just repeating the cycle. Homelessness is extremely high. College graduation is only 3%, or I think it's even just going to college. I don't think that's even the graduation rate. It's just going to college. Being unemployed, I think it's about 50% of our youth will be unemployed by age 24. So it impacts all of us, right? This is what we are. As a society, the cost for us, right, is we're going to pay for it in our services, in our criminal justice system. And that's not where God intended any of his children to ever be, right? He wants them in families. He wants them to have Christian role models, right? Yeah. For us to be the ones that can even show them who Christ is. Mm-hmm. And so we want those kids to have an opportunity to thrive and be all that God created them to be. And they need that that family relationship in order to do that.
They do. And thank you for sharing that, Michelle. And if you feel called at all to adopt a school-age child, you can learn more. We have an upcoming boot camp coming up. So do you want to share about that?
Yeah, so boot camp is our pre-service training. So once you've started the application and you're moving forward, we are starting January 5th. So there's still time to get in. don't wait until January 4th. I know the holidays are crazy right now, and we're all bustling and getting ready and finishing our shopping and wrapping gifts. But make sure you make time to make that call to CFC so that we can get you started in the application process, because we do need that application to get them enrolled in the boot camp.
Right. And you can fill out an adoption inquiry form on our website, cfcare.org, but then also you can attend an adoption orientation session. And so you can find out when the next one is on our website, understandingadoption.org, and you can attend that virtually or in person. So there's a lot of ways you can kind of get your foot in the door, but then I know we've got a great team here that can help guide you through the whole process. So
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Caitlin.
And thanks for joining us this morning. Have a great rest of your week.